Howdy folks, welcome to Live at the Lazy T Ranch. I'm Ron Wilson, Poet Laureate. Liz Wilson is doing the videography today. Chris Wilson is observing over here. Let's talk about horses. It is early June and the flies are bothering the horses a bit. Years ago there was a show that began with the line, "A horse is a horse, of course, of course." But the more you learn about horses, the more you realize that there are different sizes and shapes and colors and breeds, and it's very interesting. So today what we want to do is show you some examples of some of the different kind of horses that you can find here at the Lazy T Ranch. We'll begin with Kid Bogandy, who is a paint mare being a female. And look at her coloring. She has these pretty brown splotches that looks as if a painter, you know, they're random, a painter could have painted those right on the horse. Well, it's all natural. And this kind of marking is what is called a paint. So a paint horse is one that has this type of distinctive random marking. It can come from a thoroughbred background or a quarter horse background, but this kind of marking specifically refers to a paint horse. I was always a much better livestock judge of market animals, beef, hogs, sheep, than horses, but to my eye, Kid is an excellent example of a paint horse. Trim head, a lot of girth, a lot of substance, good balance, good bone, and just a really pretty example of a paint horse. Next to Kid, we have Tango, and Tango is a pony of the Americas. One of our frequently asked questions here is, what is the difference between a horse and a pony? And the answer boils down to height. A horse, an equine that is 14.2 hands or less, is considered a pony, and an animal above that height is considered a horse. Tango just barely meets the height criteria. She's right on the borderline. She's big enough, she can carry a child easily, she can carry a lighter adult, but she's a part of the breed called Pony of the Americas. But she's really so close to the size of a full-fledged horse that I kind of use these terms interchangeably. Tango is an excellent example of a breed called Pony of the Americas. Now, I find this really interesting. The history of the horse goes back thousands of years, but breed associations were created probably within the last century to register and classify horses where they could be entered into a registry if they met certain standards and certain lineage. Pony of the Americas is a special breed that is kind of one of all the major breeds, maybe the newest on the market, because the Pony of the Americas was a specially designed breed that combined three: the Arabian, the Appaloosa, and the Shetland. They wanted a Shetland because it's a smaller equine. They wanted the Appaloosa, has these Appaloosa markings, and then the Arabian for the equine quality. So they put those three breeds together, and in 1954, the Pony of the Americas breed was created using those three types because they wanted a little bit of a smaller horse with a good disposition that would be great for kids or families. So I mentioned the Appaloosa marking. We have, a kid will come out here and say, "Oh, look, Mommy, a polka-dotted horse." Well, we would say it's a spotted horse, but she has the Appaloosa markings of the spotted design. So we have a paint horse, we have a Pony of the Americas, and then we get to Buddy. And Buddy is a Shetland pony. So we talk about height. There's no question that this is a pony, right? Because there's a clear difference in size between the Shetland pony and these two, the Pony of the Americas, but especially the paint horse. Buddy is a typical Shetland pony. The Shetland breed it's an ancient breed. It comes from the Shetland Island in Scotland. And so Chris and I were discussing this. He's registered as a sorrel in color. He's got the flaxen mane and tail, and one blue eye, one brown eye. Shetlands are stronger than they look. They're strong for their size. They can pull a cart, as Buddy has done. If you go to a county fair or a carnival and you see pony rides, ponies on a pony wheel going round and round, most likely that would be a Shetland pony. So that's Buddy. Buddy, the Shetland pony. And then we have this guy. This is Sully, a miniature donkey. He's not pretty like these horses we have down here. He's a little bit dumpy. He's got these long, floppy ears. Sully is a miniature donkey. If he was a full-fledged, full-size donkey, he'd be more like Tango size, but he is a miniature, so he's going to remain small. He is a calm, gentle, slow-moving guy. And for a kid that wants some kind of a ride, Sully is well suited because he is so calm, so small, and he moves at a nice slow pace. These are all these I'm showing you today are part of the same genetic family, but there are differences. They're all part of the genus Equus, but the donkey actually is a separate species from the horses and ponies. The horses and ponies are all the same species. The donkey is separate. And then we have our fifth and final equine to show you today. This little bay mare is a miniature horse. This is Dixie, who is a miniature horse. Now, the miniatures, unlike horses, they don't measure their size in hands. They measure their size in inches. Because as you can see, this is a tiny horse. And again, kids will come out and look at Dixie and say, oh look, a baby horse. Not at all. This is not a baby horse. A baby horse is called a colt or a foal. A newborn is a foal. But this is a full-grown miniature horse. This is as big as she will get. Dixie came to us as a rescue. The history of the miniature horse, and you can see she's got the big belly, she has the long body, she has a pretty trim head, but she's just built on a smaller scale. So she's like a full-size horse in miniature. The miniature horses have a kind of a tragic history. It's kind of a sad story, I think. And it goes back to the days in Europe when they were actively mining coal mines centuries ago, and they would build these small shafts to go down and get the coal. And these shafts were too small for a full-grown miner to go through. So believe it or not, what they did was they had kids who would pull the carts down into the coal mine, human children, and then pull the carts back out. Unthinkable to me. I mean, talk about child labor. So they finally outlawed that practice. But what did they do then? They had these small shafts, small tunnels. A full-size man couldn't go through, a full-size horse couldn't go through. But what they got was miniature horses. So they used miniature horses. They were smart, and they could pull that cart in and pull that cart out. So that's part of the history of the miniature horse. Today, the miniature horse is really just a pet, just a companion. Dixie is a real sweetheart. We've often taken her to, just as a volunteer effort, taken her to our county fair Farm Bureau display because she is smaller, she's more approachable. A little child who maybe is scared or intimidated by a big full-size horse can come up to Dixie and love on her. And so she's very suited to that. So, I guess small, medium, large, extra large, toss in a donkey for good measure. A Clydesdale, a big draft, I suppose. So what we find is there's all kinds of different breeds, history, different sizes, shapes, and colors of the horse. But they're all part of the horse family, and that makes it a whole lot of fun to work with them and learn.